always want to wear a suit, but when I come aboard, I have to. Oh yeah, I saw it. They did that last time. They let us go first. Thanks.
Audio test. Check 1, 2, 3. Today is May 27th, 2026. This is an audio test.
we'll know that right away. Richard, but before they do any of that, they got to do public comment.
True. Yeah. That's a quick one, right? I had a question for you, Ian. For your presentation, I know your typical presentation goes through the numbers, but since the JAC meeting is potential scheduled, will you be talking about that?
So my presentation for this, Commissioner Kang is actually going to be a part of the committee. If he brings it up, I'll discuss it, but I don't plan to because I really don't want to get into the particulars about the grievance dealing with one of the signatory unions to the PLA and subcontract. I'd rather not. So I would likely, not that I'd be more apt to do it, I would be more comfortable doing it if the grievance was just for the name. So. I'm always prepared for questions, but.
Good morning. For any callers who wish to provide public multiple item or single item comments, please raise your hand so I can ask you to unmute. List your name for the record. Today's meeting will begin at 10 o'clock. Thank you.
What's he up to now?
I was number. I haven't talked to him. I'll reach out to him and say, hey, somebody asked me about you. Yeah, how you doing? I'm trying to get the guy. I chuckled internally when he said that. But it seems like everybody wants to go over. Consulting. Just check. But they're real point of view. Yeah, but my presentation's pretty short. Talk about it.
Good morning, Audit LA. What items would you like to speak on today?
Good morning, Mr. Tepsky. I hope you had a great weekend, first of all. And I would like the public comment and all items, please.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
So I don't think they would be specific. This one, feel like because they're going to have robust presentation that that's just my personal opinion. Sorry about that.
They're staying for massage. And, what you've done on labor is an indication that you're a good resource. We still have a few more minutes. I don't know if she could share her formulas. But that would be for that chart. Yeah, I'm not sure the names. I don't know exactly what those are. Right. This should be frozen. These, and this should be frozen. These should be changed, right? So, I imagine there's some sort of formula embedded in those cells.
Of course it's not.
What we were approved on.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you? Look how strippy you are.
Just here to stand in front of this mic.
You look very nice.
So I do have this week coming up, but for some reason these numbers keep changing on them. So
How are you, sir?
But here's something just to follow
Oh,
up.
to follow on. Okay, great. Let me know if you need this. I'd love to do so. And I saw they wanted to move it on. Right. I feel like if I do so.
Why don't we just take the first one?
Yeah. We'll be in and out.
Yeah. So how's it coming? Okay.
then I said fall.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. We'll get started shortly. If you're here in person to provide public comment, please fill out a card in the back of the room and bring it up front. If you're on the Zoom platform, please raise your hand and we'll do a check to see you as public comment. Miriam, I see you have your hand raised. Do you have general public comment or comment on any agenda items?
Good morning. I have a general public comment.
Wonderful. Thank you. Good morning, Gigi. Do you have general public comment or comment on any agenda items?
Just general, please.
Thank you. Okay, President King, it's 10 o'clock. Let me put us into record mode. And we are now recording. You can go ahead and get started.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for Wednesday, May 27th, 2026. Ms. Zatorsky, please take roll and establish quorum.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Devin Zatorsky with the Board of Public Works, taking role in establishing quorum. We're joined by President Kang, Vice President Chavez, President Pro Tem Grant, and Commissioner Mitchell, and we have a quorum. We do have public comment and multiple item commentary from in-person speakers, and we also have general public comment and multiple item commentary on our Zoom platform.
Thank you very much. So before we take public comment, we do have a quick presentation related to our convention center. So I would like to invite our convention center representatives to come up to the podium.
Good morning. Richard Louie with the Bureau of Engineering, Deputy City Engineer. Today we are here to present an update on the Los Angeles Convention Center project. With me today is our project executive, Jennifer Hallstad. She'll be presenting a portion, as well as the Bureau of Contract Administration that will present. We will begin the presentation by giving a quick background on the project and high-level status of the project. BCA will then present some information on PLA and BIP status. Then Jennifer Hallstad will give a few updates on some of the activities that have happened on the project. So just as a background for maybe the public who wants to understand a bit about the project, this project is called the Los Angeles Convention Center Modernization and Expansion Project. It's a public infrastructure project that is going to expand the convention center. The expansion will add up to 190,000 square feet of new exhibit hall space, 35,000 square feet of new meeting room space, and 95,000 square foot multi-purpose space to the convention center. The convention center project also includes a new digital signage program and modernization elements of this project. The agreement with the city and the developer was executed on September 30th, 2025, and utilizes a delivery method similar to design build. The project will complete a majority of the physical construction work before the 2028 Olympic and Paralympic Games. During the Games, construction will pause, and after the Games, APCLA, our developer, will remobilize and complete the project. So we have passed out a hard copy and have distributed electronic copies of the report. If you will turn to page number 3, you will see a picture we wanted to highlight this month. This picture presents work that is being done to complete something called auger cast piles. Auger cast piles are part of the foundation system of the project. What you do is you take a drill rig and you drill down into the ground. You then put a cage of steel called rebar into that hole, and then pour concrete into the hole surrounding the rebar cage. And so this forms part of the foundation that will provide the strength to hold up the entire building. What you see in this picture is part of the site. Because the site is congested with many construction activities, the concrete truck can't simply back up to the area where they need to dump the concrete, or place the concrete, I'm sorry. And so this machine that you see is a pumping truck with a boom arm that takes the concrete from one end of the site and then pumps it all the way over to the other end of the site. We wanted to highlight this picture because it's a significant milestone in the project, beginning the foundation work. And the foundation work of the project has begun. If you will turn to page number 4, we have a high-level status, the executive dashboard of the project. In our last month's update, we reported that the project was delayed by 9 days of meeting the Olympics readiness deadline of March 31st, 2028. We are excited to present that in this month's report, we are now 0 days delayed to meeting the Olympics readiness deadline. That is because the project has been able to mitigate that delay and get back on schedule. So overall, we are on track on our spending, on track on our schedule, and on track on an overall status of the project. In terms of the budget, in change orders, out of our $345 million budget for allowances, we have issued 4 allowances for a total of $58 million. And for our construction change orders, we have not issued any change orders to date. We will move on. Page 5 gives a summary of key schedule activities, which you can see, take a look at your leisure. And at page number 6, we show a summary of the status of payments. On the payment status, we are on track or up to date on our payments. We have processed payments all the way through March, and currently the April payment is under review. With that, I'm going to turn it over to BCA to give some information on the project labor agreement and business inclusion program targets. I will mention that at the last month's meeting, this board asked for information from the developer APCLA on their plan on how to meet targets moving forward. The city is working with the developer to gather that information. It wasn't quite ready to present this month, but will be ready next month to present. So I wanted to make that comment. BCA.
Good morning. Ian Monte, representing the Bureau of Contract Administration. We serve as the designated administrative agency for the Department of Public Works Project Labor Agreement, and I'm going to briefly talk about the current achievements with the PLA's targeted hiring requirements. So this project, like any other project covered under this particular PLA, has three mandated metrics. At least 30% of all of the project construction hours must be done by city residents. At least 50% or half of all of the apprentice hours need to be done by city residents in a bona fide apprenticeship program. And last but certainly not least, at least 10% of the total project construction hours must be done by city residents that are identified as transitional workers. And those are individuals that have some sort of barriers to employment in their background, such as, but not limited to, being a veteran, having a criminal history or background, or documented homeless. As of the date of the report, which is May 4th of this month, the project has a total of 173,401 hours, which represents, well, that doesn't represent, that's just the total number of hours. The local hire hours are 61,459.74, representing 35%. That's above compliance. Local apprentice is at 45%. Which is not quite there, but it's getting there. It has actually gone up slightly. And finally, the project is at 7% with transitional workers. Always wanting to tell the full story because I think it's important just for everyone to know exactly what's happening on this project. You have a total of 39 verified contractors, again, at the time of the report, and again, that have worked at 173,000 hours. These contractors have submitted 674 certified payrolls for 690 total workers. Of that, 207 of those workers are local, representing 30% of the workforce. Additionally, this project has 111 apprentices, 49 of which are local apprentices, representing 44% of the apprentice workforce. Of the 111 apprentices, 29 are first period apprentices, meaning these are individuals that are just getting their feet wet into a career with construction. And of those 29, 17 are first period apprentices that are local. And last but not least, 59 transitional workers are on this project as well, making up 9% of the total workforce on the project. And that concludes my presentation with the PLA's targeted hiring update.
Hi, good morning, Commissioners. I'll be presenting the Business Inclusion Program Pledged Subcontractor Participation Progress. So these numbers are from the data that we had for the end of March. So there hasn't been much improvement or early as of March, but I just want everybody to know that we have been receiving quite a few submittals from PWJV and APCLA. So we're currently working together in order to update our database. So there hasn't been much improvement except for the local business enterprise pledged percentage, and then we also recalculated the anticipated percentages using APCLA's contract amount of $1,989,474,400, and that is minus the contingencies. So the new anticipated amount for minority business enterprises is $358.1 million. For women business enterprises, it's $79.6 million. For small business enterprise, it's $497.4 million. For a disabled veteran business enterprise, it's $59.7 million. For local business enterprise, it's $397.9 million, and emerging business enterprise, it's $59.7 million. And that is the end of my report. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm not going to step through the next 5 slides in detail because you guys can read the detailed information and a lot of acronyms on those pages at your leisure. But I am going to just highlight some of the accomplishments in April and what's going on in May for the project. Just you can step through those as you like, Jeannie. But I won't bury the lead. As you know, I have a lot of experience in construction, and I just wanted to say up front, this project, the amount of work that's going in the field in this project is amazing, and the progress that's been made on this project is really quite something to see. Excuse you. I like I said, I've been around construction a long time, and there's so many people you don't see behind all of this, thousands and thousands of people. And the amount of coordination it takes for that to be a successful project is really incredible, especially when you're moving on a really fast schedule. So I just wanted to give my opinion this morning that I think it's going great, and the field is making great progress too. So as far as things that happened in April, I'm going to use my cheat sheet. We started, which is the period of this report. We started our AugerCast piles for the new expansion, started walls at the Central Utility Plant, completed the DWP on-site duct banks, started the South Hall roof demolition, started the network station foundations, completed the concourse exterior demolition, completed the South Hall temporary ramp, which is that big ramp that you can see a little bit from the outside of the job, concrete ramp, and poured the new fire command center and generator foundations. So in May, it looks like a continuation of those types of activities in different areas. We're going to continue demolition, or we are. The piles and foundations are ongoing. The central plant foundations are preparing for masonry block, and the underground mechanical, electrical, and plumbing is advancing and has been for quite some time. And then the fire control command center and the generator rooms will be continued this month.
Okay, so our last slide is on key risk topics and mitigation. We do mention that there are several risk topics the project is focused on, making sure that we manage and mitigate as much as possible. Those risk topics include fire life safety strategy, PICO passage, signage cost overrun, building management system, design development, unforeseen conditions on PICO Boulevard, and permitting. Most of the trends of these risk items are similar to last month, with the exception of design development. Design development was more neutral last month and has gone into a more positive trend this month. Last month, we noted that the design development was moving forward at a rapid pace, and we were concerned that some of the city's comments may not be able to be included in the efforts of the design development. Since that time, the developer and their contractor have been scheduling workshops with our city's team to go over the design comments. So instead of just sending comments back and forth in writing, we are meeting and discussing, and those workshops have been proving very helpful. So we're seeing that the design development is moving in a positive trend because of those workshops. Most of the other risk topics we have touched on previously and continue to remain in their status as they were last month. I'm able to give additional details should you have questions, but recognize that it's a very busy agenda this morning. We wanted to try to keep this as brief as possible. So please, if you have any questions.
Thank you very much. I want to open up the floor to my colleagues for questions, questions or comments from the commissioners. Vice President Chavez.
Well, thank you for this report. I think the headline is very positive here. The takeaway on this is that, I mean, the 0 days behind, that's a big one. I think this is the first report where we have all three major indicators, the overall status, the spend, and the schedule, are all in the green, which is a tremendous accomplishment given how much work and how many challenges that the team has been going through. And so I think that definitely want to give kudos. I know it's been an all hands on deck. It literally does take a village to move a project of this scale and time forward. And, you know, it just goes to show what can be done when everyone's going in the same direction. Doesn't mean that there aren't unresolved issues. I know that you're aware of those. I know that they're highlighted here. The fire life safety issues, the signage, a lot of those things are not in our control. And on the business inclusion, I know that there's a compliance gap, and I know those are lofty goals. But I think for us, like, our responsibility as a board is to not just acknowledge the progress on this project, but also press on, you know, the things that need to continue work. That's our role as being the public oversight and the accountability. We're not the day-to-day management. That's you guys. You have that unenviable project to do. I did want to, I know you mentioned that you're still working with the JV on the updates on the essentially specifically the business inclusion, but also on the workforce. And I did want to just clarify that it's important that we just get a little bit more information about, I mean, fundamentally, are we on pace to meet the project goals? And if we're not, then, you know, sort of how are we adjusting if we need to? And I think it's important to also to show a complete picture of what work is happening. I know that we are in an incredibly tight schedule, and having worked on large projects in the past, good outreach takes time, and we don't have the luxury of time on this project. So I recognize that, and so I think it's important to provide that full picture. Just wanted to highlight these, you know, again, I think April's just been such a standout month with the transitional worker hours having exceeded the goal this month, the local apprentice hours exceeding the 50% goal. These are real verifiable milestones that I think we need to acknowledge publicly. I know this is also being heard at council today, and council will be getting these reports. It's really important that, you know, we continue to function, we as a board continue to function as the city's public accountability layer on this project, because we're the public voice, not on this project, not just to general stakeholders, but also to the different industry, hospitality industry, the economic development community, and, you know, also our civic leaders. So on just the business inclusion side, I think what would be helpful to me is just to understand what additional contracting opportunities will there be in the future for business inclusion, and what the dollar amounts are, like what's left to go out. I know that there's going to be another set of contracting release that are smaller, so that will provide an additional opportunity for business participation, but I would like to get more detail on what those dollar amounts are and when they are happening. That's it for now.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you very much. President Pro Tem Grant.
I want to echo Vice President Chavez's remarks. This is very impressive. The number of days behind is now 0. That's pretty impressive. I mean, at this rate, we'll be done by Christmas of 26. And secondly, the project labor agreement targeted hiring the April numbers look very good, or in terms of, but I'm a little confused. The sidebar in gray on page 7 indicates, for example, that the 9% of the workforce is transitional, and yet on the bar above, it says only 7%. Is that because one's an average, and what's the discrepancy between those two numbers?
So it's a good question. The numbers that you see in the basically chart, those are the hours worked, and those are the actual PLA metrics. So when you see the 12,162.87 transitional work hours, 7% is the number that corresponds to the total number of the project hours. That's the actual PLA mandate. When you're looking at the number of workers, that is just giving you the context of the workforce, where 9% of the workforce are transitional because there are 59 transitional workers that have been identified out of the 690. So if we just looked at that very simplistic, 9% of the workforce has done 7% of the hours.
Got it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. I have a couple questions. I know the report references some of the reoccurring urgent permit escalation requests from the developer. So are you all getting sort of sufficient lead time from the developer related to these escalations or the permit processing?
Yes, we check in every week at a weekly progress update meeting on what's the status of the project. That includes the status of permits and any permits that require support from the Bureau of Engineering or others. We ask and we talk about those permits.
Thank you very much. And then related to the fire life safety issues, which continue to pop up as a potential risk area, do you have the timeline for completing the revised campus-wide rational analysis requested by the fire department?
We have received a very rough schedule from the developer on the steps to complete the updated rational analysis. Those steps include completing an assessment of the existing facility, working on design development, and then completing the rational analysis. We anticipate that a majority of that work will be complete towards the end of this calendar year, so December, January of this year is the timeline that we anticipate maybe not final completion of that work, but significant amount of that work to be done.
And finally, I know you all are meeting on a regular basis with various departments, but wanted to just learn a little bit more about the coordination between DWP and DOT to avoid any delays on PICO.
The DWP work is related to rerouting some of the existing power as well as bringing in new power. That work is going well. The construction of the existing reroutes is, I believe, almost 100% complete. And the work to bring in the new power is continuing to be worked on. So that is upcoming right now. And then in terms of the coordination with DOT, one of the issues on Pico Boulevard was an analysis on one of the fire scenarios. And one of those fire scenarios potentially was going to try to prevent certain vehicles from going through Pico Passage, the passage that the building goes over. We have been meeting with DOT as well as with Building and Safety and Fire. The developer has provided responses to the comments they've received from the fire department on those scenarios. And we're working through the process of having those comments be reviewed by fire and then responded by the developer.
All right, thank you very much. Any other questions, commissioners? Commissioner Mitchell.
Thank you for your reports. In our briefing last week, I asked, and I don't know if you had time, because obviously this is not as crucial as what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, but how deep were the auger cast piles?
I forgot to.
That's okay. You can get
90 feet. We got
90 feet. Okay, thank you. And so that's 90 feet below ground, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. With that, we'll conclude the Convention Center presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we'll go back with the starting of our general public comment, which is an opportunity for the public to address the board on public interest items and will be provided up to 1 minute per person, up to a cumulative total of 10 minutes For the general public comment segment of each regular meeting, testimony shall be limited in content to subject matters which are within the jurisdiction of the Board of Public Works. The board may not take any action on any matters discussed during the public comment period. We'll start with our one in-person speaker, Mr. Greenspan.
Fuck the convention center. Let's be serious. That's very, very specific. In 2016, off of Soto Marengo, I filed a complaint against the City of Los Angeles, the Board of Supervisors, Metro, because the corridor there with those absent curb ramps since 2016 and the failure of our local government and that new scum guy, new scum. Where's the fucking money to put the ramps and curb cuts? Well, the call from the Federal Highway Administration to me was this. We forgot we dropped the ball. We keep firing and removing ADA coordinators because they're fucking stupid, just like our local government. So I provided you a public document for the record
Thank you,
as I
that's
will
time.
hand in to the attorney here at my side.
Thank you very much. We'll transition to our virtual callers.
Okay, our first caller is Audit LA. Good morning, Audit. You'll have 1 minute for general public comment.
Good morning. Yes, over the weekend, Scientology yet again closed down Ron Hubbard Way. I looked for the issued permit. There was nothing listed. Police were called. There's a little bit of confusion. I looked later. It was on the non-issued permit side. So did they have a permit? If they did, then how did it not get onto the calendar? Can you please internally find out and let the public know? But if they did not have a permit, I am asking for the absolute strongest, putting it to the city attorney for enforcement, both with you and forward, because an entity cannot shut down a public street because they feel like it. Or, so if I am like, and that's why, like, it's really important that you guys keep track. Like, if they do have a permit, it needs to be shown, because you understand that people are watching and monitoring all of this. And there's no room for error with this, because then the police have to get called and they want to know. And then they want you guys to, like, why can't you guys
you,
send
caller.
the...
That's
Thank
time.
you.
Our next caller is Miriam. Miriam, you'll have 1 minute for general public comment.
Yeah, just to continue on this topic regarding the permit. First of all, we need to have a system where we can actually trust the information, whether a permit has been granted or not granted. And this information should be also available for LAPD to verify it on spot. Secondly, Scientology does nothing for free. Arranging these events on their street actually cost money for the people that are presenting their goods over there and selling them. Are they actually benefiting from this financially because they are receiving the permit? Please look into this. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Our next caller is Gigi. Gigi, you'll have 1 minute for general public comment.
Okay, so when the police did arrive to check out if they had a permit or not, one of the officers said that he was told that it was a private road and that Scientology owned L. Ron Hubbard Way. This is exactly what I was telling you. Everyone thinks, not everyone, but most people think that it's a private road and don't know that there's public access to it. He was given the correct information. He now knows that it's a public road, but there needs to be more done. You guys need to put some type of signage up on each end of that street to say that it's a public road. There's so many people that don't know that, and it's crazy because, like, how long has it been a public road? It's been a public road forever. They never, ever owned that road. So why is there this confusion? Help with the confusion and please put some signage up. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Our next caller is Laura. Laura, good morning. You'll have 1 minute for general public comment.
Good morning. Thank you. I want to echo exactly what was just said. There needs to be signage put up on L. Ron Hubbard Way that we're hoping to get back to North Berendo Street. But there needs to be some sort of signage that says this is a public road. Or how about just change the name back to North Parendo? Because that is the reason why they years ago forced the city to change it to L. Ron Hubbard Way. For whatever reason, whether that was some money, financial, whatever to the city, it's not okay because now Scientology is using it to bully the city and to infiltrate and to make it seem like they own and control the land and all the property and what goes around those Scientology cult buildings that are holding indentured servants like myself and children and elderly against their will because they don't have a will. They're not allowed to have medical help. They're not allowed to have outside security or police authority for help. It's against their policy. So stop giving them permits. Please make this a bigger issue than what you're making it. It needs to
Thank
be
you,
a
caller.
public issue.
That's 1 minute. Okay, President Kang, that's the end of our hands for general public comment.
Thank you very much. With that, we will close general public comment portion of today's meeting and move on to multiple agenda item public comment. The board will provide an opportunity for members of the public wishing to speak on more than one agenda item during multiple agenda item comment period for up to a minute per item, up to a total of 3 minutes per meeting. This is the only time to speak on more than one agenda item, and please identify the items that you will speak on when you are called. We'll start with one in-person speaker, Mr. Greenspan.
Item number 6, tree removal. Fuck Scientology and give us back our fucking streets. Then we go into the capital improvement bullshit. Well, like I said earlier for the record, in 2016, I reported poor infrastructure for like people like Miss Audit LA and other disabled people such as myself that use public transportation and can't get off the goddamn fucking bus to use an intersection off of Soto and Marengo. The corridor there, as I was told, belonged to the city. No, then it went back, it belonged to the fucking retards of Metro. Then it went back, it belonged to Caltrans. Then Caltrans sends me a letter, clarified it's their property. However, since 2016 to today, I'm filing my $10,000 claim against Caltrans and that fucking retard, Newscom, and that other fucking soon-to-be asshole, retarded, stupid, lying, wetback, Becerra. So go ahead and vote for him. You guys like wetbacks? You voted for Jose Luis Huizar, who put all this fancy fucking development infrastructure in place to be empty. It's fucking empty when you can put all the goddamn motherfucking niggers that are sleeping on the fucking sidewalks and streets in those goddamn empty facilities known as $4,000 a month condominiums. But no, your stupid first black mayor, the worst black mayor ever, woman, has fucked it all up. So yes, I am disappointed with Los Angeles. I am disappointed with that fucking convention center. I am disappointed with Broadway. And look at the paperwork I submitted to you. The claim at First Street, 200, John. The same fucking ramp curb there, right across the street from the federal building, the alley law library, with that huge gaping fucking hole. It's in the picture. I handed one and submitted it into the record with your attorney and with the rest of you knuckleheads, except for John. Because John's the only one that's fucking listening. Nancy Drew over there is playing Centipede probably on her computer because, oh, my little fat daughters need a walk. No, they're not going to walk because you drive them around. That's why they're fucking fat. So get your fat asses off your fat ass and do your fucking job for the infrastructure that Donald J. Trump said.
Thank you very much. We'll transition to our virtual callers.
Okay, we have one speaker, Audit LA. Audit, you'll have up to 3 minutes. Please comment which items you're speaking on.
Thank you. I think Laura, if I may want to speak also. I want to start with the convention center. The CAO says we can't afford it. I believe by just seeing how many people are laid off and the fact that we don't have enough revenue for, say, sidewalks, curb cutouts, Everything else, it's true. And then and it further complicates it that it's you're doing it at such a fast pace, and I'm like, why? It's not like it's going to be done for the Olympics. So is safety being compromised? Because it seems like you're so more worried about the stats than you are about the quality. And with as horrible as the streets are, the city is filthy. It's dirty. It's just. It doesn't feel safe, even though the numbers supposedly are going down. There's so many different elements. Like, I don't understand why we have to do this now. This is maybe a project for 10 years from now when we fix our city, when we fix our streets, when we have enough, bring back the tax base, right? Because everyone's fleeing. Hollywood, the entertainment, everything is fleeing. Fix that first. So this is where it doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand it. The next thing is, I agree, the relinquishing. Of the area with it is so confusing who owns this stuff. And I agree. I don't want to see the city relinquish anything. I don't want to see you relinquish L. Ron Hubbard Way. I don't want to see you guys, I don't like any kind of street vacation. I don't like where it seems like the city is willing to just say, okay, we'll surrender this so we don't have to deal with it. And that's what I'm concerned about, that you will do the same thing. Well, we don't want to deal with Scientology, so we're just going to give them this, street so they can, so if people want to escape, whatever, it's not our problem anymore. And that's what it feels like you could do. And I hope you don't. I'm going to stand here against any kind of vacation or giving up the property. No, the city should have I don't even think the Metro should own them, any of that, the Metro. I think the city should own it at the parts that go through the city. That just makes sense. So you have control over it. The other part is the bids. I've been saying, like, now we know. I didn't realize, dealing with Scientology, I realize now that human labor trafficking is an issue. Human trafficking, I thought it was just sex trafficking. I didn't realize there was labor trafficking, but there is. So I want to make sure there's no labor trafficking when building, with all this, worried about the stats. Make sure that it's 0% people who are labor trafficked. Make sure every bid, 0%, absolute zero labor trafficking, because it exists. It exists, and you allow it to exist. It's constant. You've been reporting it for how long now? That Scientology, they have all these lawsuits against them for labor traffic now, for all kinds of different things, but for labor trafficking, and you allow it to continue. I show proof of people making supposed religious
caller.
wages.
That's time.
Thank you.
Last call for any hands raised. I don't see any other hands raised. Oh, Claire, do you have multiple item commentary or comment on any agenda items?
Yeah, hi. I don't know if I'm in the right place. I had a comment on tree removal at 22255 Mulholland Drive.
Okay, we will call you when we get to that item.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that's all the hands raised we have, President King. That's the end of multiple item comment. And
Thank you very much.
Comment.
With that, we will close the multiple item public comment portion of today's meeting and move forward with the approval of minutes for Wednesday, May 13th, 2026. I'll move. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by President Pro Tem Grant.
Okay, great. Motion by President King, second by President Pro Tem Grant. We'll take the roll call starting with you, President King.
Aye.
Vice President Chavez. Aye. President Pro Tem Grant.
Aye.
And Commissioner Mitchell. Great, all ayes, the minutes are approved.
Thank you very much. Moving into our two bids, we'll move with item number 1 for asphalt plant number 1, phase 2.
Great, thank you, Mr. Castellanos. We'll open those. All right, opening the bids for asphalt plant number 1, phase 2, with an estimate of $24,279,344. And project is in CD14. Our first bid is from Royal Construction Corporation with a total bid amount of $19,887. That's 19887,000. And our second, how many bids do we have? 3. Our second bid is from Ford EC Incorporated with a total bid amount of $21,973,000. That's 21973,000. And our third bid is from Griffith Company with a total bid amount of $22,598,175. That's 22598,175. And those are our 3 bids we received for this project.
Thank you very much. I'll move to receive these bids. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Mitchell.
Okay, great. We have a motion by President Kang and a second by Commissioner Mitchell. We will take the roll call starting with you, President Kang.
Aye.
Vice President Chavez.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant.
Aye.
And Commissioner Mitchell. Great. All ayes. The bids are received and
Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 2, bids for ATP Cycle 4.
Okay, this is for ATP Cycle 4 Alexandria Avenue ES Neighborhood Safety Improvement Projects with an estimate of $5,954,840. Takes place in Council Districts 10 and 13. Our first bid is from Geronimo Concrete with a total bid amount of $6,493,619.50. That's 6493619.50. And our next bid is from Access Pacific Incorporated with a total bid amount of $5,890,965. That's 5890965. Our next our next bid is from Toro Enterprises Incorporated with a total bid amount of $5,468,295. That's 5468295. Our next bid is from Palp Incorporated, doing business as Excel Paving. And their total bid amount is $8,783,968. That's 8783968. And our, thank you. And our fifth and final bid, or more?
There's one more.
Oh, more, 6 bids. Okay. Our 5th bid is from Los Angeles Engineering Incorporated with a total bid amount of, let me get to the page, $6,258,000. That's 6258000. And 6th bid, thank you, sir. Thank you. Is from Axiom Group with a total bid amount of $6,125,385. That's 6125385. And that is all the bids we received on this project.
Thank you very much. I'll move. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice President Chavez.
Okay, motion by President Kang, second by Vice President Chavez. I will take the roll call starting with you, President Kang.
Aye.
Vice President Chavez.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant.
Aye.
And Commissioner Mitchell. Great. All ayes. The bids are received and opened and declared forthwith.
Thank you very much. Item number 3 is on consent. I'll move. Is there a second? Seconded by President Pro Tem Grant.
Okay, motion by President Kang, second by President Pro Tem Grant. Take the roll call starting with you, President Kang.
Aye.
Vice President Chavez.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant.
Aye.
And Commissioner Mitchell. Great. All ayes. The item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to item number 4 in Council District 11, Capital Improvement Project CIP, Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant digesters. Thank you.
Good morning. This is Ethan Wong with the Bureau of Engineering, Environmental Engineering Division. So the project before you is known as the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant Digester 6D1 and 3E repairs and insulation replacement. And we're recommending award to an emergency on-call contractor known as United Riggers and Erectors Incorporated from the on-call emergency repair services and construction of urgent necessity projects at the City of Los Angeles wastewater treatment plants and other wastewater facilities list. So background on this project, the Hyperion plant utilizes a fleet of 20 egg-shaped digesters for digestion of biosolids that are removed from the wastewater stream that enters Hyperion. These digesters are a critical component of plant operations and have been since their commissioning back in 1998. Over the course of the last few years, we have discovered corrosion on the steel shell of two of the digesters, the ones mentioned earlier, 6D1 and 3E. This has actually, through further investigation, we have discovered there are actually holes in both of the digesters that need to be repaired. We were able to do some further investigation through another emergency project known as Capital Improvement Project 2539. This is where we were able to strip all of the cladding off of digester 6D1 and analyze all of the corrosion on the steel structure and determine where there were structural instabilities and holes and things of that nature. We were able to hire the subcontractor that originally installed and fabricated the digesters to do that analysis. So we've been able to come up with a repair procedure for digester 6D1. For digester 3E, a sludge leak was reported, and we found that there was a 5-inch diameter hole on the side of that digester. That digester needs to be fully stripped and analyzed before we come up with a full repair procedure, which we are proposing to do under this emergency project. As I mentioned before, there are 20 total digesters at Hyperion. Currently 4 are out of service, and due to regular maintenance and issues, we do also need to take 2 other digesters out of service. So it's critical to have these digesters repaired and back in service, as we need this storage space for the sludge and processing of biosolids, as that can impact downstream processes such as water quality. So we are recommending to award this project to the next available contractor on our emergency on-call list. A briefing was previously given on January 22 of 2026 to Board President Kang on the urgent necessity of this project. So the contractor is actually deployed on site and has already started work on this critical project. Funds for this project are coming from LA Sands Debt Service Reserve Fund, and or a portion of the funds are coming from the Debt Reserve Fund from LA Sanitation, and the remaining funds are coming from the Sewer Construction and Maintenance Funds. The total value of this project is $15 million, and as noted, it will not be, no monies will be coming from general fund for that $15 million. Total duration to do the analysis of the steel structure for 3E and all of the repairs on both 3E and 6D1 is approximately 18 months. So we're looking for your support in carrying out this critical project, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, any questions or comments? Okay, Commissioner Mitchell.
Thank you for your report. Has there been any inspection of the other digesters for similar issues?
We haven't had the ability at this moment to analyze any of the other digesters. It is quite expensive to strip a digester of the aluminum cladding that covered the steel structure. So at this time, we have not been able to do that, but from the previous analysis, we do expect there is corrosion on the other digesters. So we are developing a 10-year plan, maintenance plan, to selectively take out individual digesters in the future, so as to not impact operations, do the analysis on those digesters and any repairs that may be necessary. But it does appear that corrosion has been building up over the course of the almost past 30 years since they've been in operation, on the clips that attach the aluminum cladding to the steel shell. So we do suspect there is more corrosion on other digesters. We just haven't had the ability to get in there, strip these digesters, and do a full analysis.
Thank you very much. That was part of my question, so thank you, Commissioner Mitchell. My final question is, does this project include any other upgrades other than just the basic repairs?
That's a great question. Yeah, as part of the discovery of the corrosion on digester 61, we were in the midst of the Atlantia gas mixing system demonstration project, which is basically attaching nozzles for a new mixing system that we were testing on digester 61. So this project will also basically attach those same nozzles to digester 3E, since the whole digester will be stripped down, and it gives a good opportunity for the plant to also install those nozzles on that digester as well.
All right, thank you very much. Seeing no other questions or comments, is there a first and a second?
So move.
First by President Pro Tem Grant, seconded by Commissioner Mitchell.
Great. We'll take the roll call starting with you, President King.
Aye.
Vice President Chavez.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant.
Aye.
And Commissioner Mitchell. Wonderful. All items, the item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 5, related to our relinquishment of major transit and transportation construction impact area Q and the streets of significance.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Jad Basma. I'm a civil engineer associate 3 working at the Bureau of Engineering Metro Transit Division. On May 8, 2026, Metro's Purple Line Extension 1 project opened to the public 3 new stations on Wilshire Boulevard on the intersections of La Brea, Fairfax, and La Cienega. PLE 1 extends the subway from Koreatown to Wilshire La Cienega area, serving the Miracle Mile and surrounding neighborhoods, which aim to reduce traffic on one of the busiest corridors in the U.S. Section 62.250 of LAMC was created to minimize the loss of traffic capacity within a major transit and transportation construction impact area, resulting from construction activities including rail, light rail, busway utility, private development, street improvements, street maintenance, and other major projects. Within an impact area, any entity which intend to obtain a permit, performs activity or work in the public right-of-way needs to obtain approval from TCTMC. The Purple Line Extension 1 project Impact Area Q was established by the Boards of Public Works on January 29, 2014, and was then revised to reduce the scope of work on November 4, 2024. Transmittal number 1 shows the boundary of PLE 1 project. Due to PLE 1 recent opening, MTD is requesting to relinquish the major transit and transportation construction impact area Q effective May 29, 2026. Since remaining construction work can be completed with standard lane closure, the typical permitting issuance will be turned over to individual bureau or department, and an extra layer of permitting and traffic control coordination required by TCTMC will no longer be required. Please let us know if you have any questions.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, any questions or comments on this item? I just have one. Are there any outstanding community feedback or complaints that have yet to be addressed related to this particular project?
No, we have not received any. We presented this to TCTMC and everybody voted for it.
Got it. And then I'm assuming the council district is fully aware.
Yes. Actually, the council district supports this because it helps them with other permitting of their housing development.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, is there a first and a second?
Second.
First by Commissioner Mitchell, seconded by President Pro Tem Grant.
Great, we'll take the roll call starting with you, President King.
Aye.
Vice President Chavez,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant,
Aye.
and Commissioner Mitchell. Wonderful, all ayes, the item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Moving on to item number 6 from the Bureau of Street Services related to a tree removal.
Good morning, Honorable Board of Public Works. I'm Brian Ramirez with Streets LA, bringing before you a Bureau of Engineering package number 79, which is a citywide sidewalk repair program in Council District 8. We are requesting this board to concur with the sidewalk repair project and also approve the removal of 7 trees for the reconstruction of non-ADA compliant public sidewalk. For a little bit of context on this particular package and project, this project is being delivered by the Sidewalk Repair Program, which was initiated and adopted in February 3rd, 2015. And I just want to emphasize that this project is not being implemented under the streamlining SRP ordinance, which was subject to a January 2023 legal decision. This is a different project here. So this SRP project makes repairs by and for people with mobility disability who encounter physical barriers such as broken sidewalks, missing broken curb ramps, and other barriers in the City of LA's right-of-way. The city engineer is authorized to approve the actual locations and sidewalk repairs under the SRP. However, because of legal requirements, including those related to CEQA, the city staff today is making this recommendation before you for consideration and potential adoption as a precautionary measure that the board concur in the BOE's approval of those sidewalk repair projects. Kind of as a summary, as set forth in the detail below, 7 trees will be severely impacted by the project, and any replacements will comply with the board's 2-to-1 replacement policy. The Bureau of Engineering is working closely in collaboration with Streets LA in assessing potential impacts to street trees adjacent to targeted locations. And I want to make a highlight here as well. Out of 160 addresses that were assessed for repairs, only 7 addresses have trees that are going to be removed. So I just want to emphasize that the division, in conjunction with BOE, we really strive to preserve trees wherever we could. The specific addresses are listed before you. I'm not going to label them out here. Just to summarize here, all of these addresses are within a neighborhood in Council District 8, within about 10 blocks from each other, multiple addresses and locations, north of Jefferson, south of West Adams, east of Western, and west of Normandy. So it's just kind of like a neighborhood where multiple repairs are taking place. A Streets LA arborist did inspect these locations and determined that root pruning, which was the first option we consider, is not feasible for these 7 street trees. Several of them are displaying cavities, significant leans that would potentially compromise their stability if we did any type of root pruning, which is why the removal of these trees is being recommended. These trees are all in fair condition. They measure approximately 6 to 30 inches in diameter and 15 to 40 feet in height, and they're growing in 3.5 to 6 foot parkways. And again, they're not suitable candidates for preservation. If approved, these trees would be replaced at a 2-to-1 ratio. Each specific address here has also been listed out in the report, but as a general overview, we are recommending that these trees be replaced by 7 crepe myrtle trees, 1 Brisbane box, and 6 Catalina cherry trees. I'll put out there that the Catalina cherry is a native tree. We're trying to incorporate some of that in our replanting as well. As far as the public notifications, these trees were physically posted on April 6th, 2026. We updated our public notifications on our website, and we also updated our tree removal notification list. And the final point here is the CEQA aspect of this recommendation. The Streets LA recommends that the board, concurrently with the approval of the project, determine that the project is exempt from CEQA under guideline section 15301 class 1 and section 15332 class 32 of the Los Angeles CEQA guidelines, and also to direct that a notice of exemption be filed with the OPR, or Office of Planning and Research, and the Los Angeles County Clerk. This concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to take any question that the board may have at this time.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, any questions or comments on this particular item? All right, seeing none. Oh,
Sorry,
Vice
quick
President
question.
Chavez.
Regarding the replacements, I know that these are all mature trees that are being removed, and the trees that are the replacements are smaller, like the crepe myrtle, the Catalina cherry. It just seems to me that it's going to be a net negative in terms of canopy coverage, especially in this neighborhood, which is park poor, tree poor, shade poor, all the things. So sort of how doesn't explain, the report doesn't really go into kind of the rationale for the replacements and how they were, you know, if there's any kind of environmental justice consideration.
I can make an attempt to address some of those concerns here. I will say I completely agree that the tree species being replanted to replace the trees removed that were a larger species, that really is determined by the available space being provided. We made note here that some of those parkway sizes are about 3.5 feet, and that space available to replant really limits what we can select from as far as larger trees. We would love to put large trees, especially in these neighborhoods. But given the space that's provided, we have to go with a smaller species to prevent these issues from happening again. If at one time the city or somebody decided to plant these larger trees in these small size parkways, the result of it is what we have here before us, where we have impact to infrastructure. So with that, we're trying to do our best as a division to be stewards of the infrastructure, stewards also of the urban canopy here. And our street tree selection is a reflection of that, to try to select the right tree for the right place.
Yeah, that, I mean, I understand the constraints. I just think that our existing policy isn't, it's not addressing the issue here, which is, I understand we're fixing sidewalks, but we also have a duty to ensure that these communities don't have a net loss in terms of environmental benefits, and trees provide multiple environmental benefits, not just shade, but also, you know, air, you know, purification. I mean, there's like endless amount of studies, as you are well aware, of the benefits of having trees in your neighborhood. So it just seems like this 2-to-1 numerical replacement isn't that, and I know that's our policy, but it seems like I would like to get some recommendations from staff about, you know, what are your thoughts on how we can improve upon this policy to better address the needs of the communities where we're doing this work and where we're replacing trees. You know, does this numerical replacement really address the, like, make the neighborhood whole in terms of shade coverage and canopy coverage? Is there another way to do this?
I think if the request is for like a formal response, I think definitely we can bring forth some uh, ideas. Off the top of my head here on the spot, I've seen other municipalities that have a little bit different replacement policies that addresses more like the diameter of a tree and imposes certain replacement based on the diameter that was removed. They have certain quantities and brackets. Without getting into specifics of cities or really how they measure it, that's just an idea that I can.
Yeah, let's
put before the
get a
board.
report from staff on that. I know we have the new dashboard that has all of the tree wells on it, so we know where we need to plant the trees. So I think utilizing the new tools that have been devised by staff, there was a considerable amount of resources putting those things together. Let's take advantage of those and think a little bit outside the box of how we, you know, really address like equity for these communities.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments or questions? All right, seeing none.
We had a hand raise. I think it's for the other Mulholland tree project. I just want to check the public comment.
Okay.
Claire, you had your hand raised earlier. Was it for the Mulholland Street tree removal or this item?
It was for Mulholland.
Okay, great. That'll be on our special agenda, so we'll get to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, sorry, President King. Just wanted to
Thank
double check on
you. Moving on, is there a first and a second?
Second.
First by Commissioner Mitchell, seconded by President Pro Tem Grant.
that. Okay, we'll take the roll call starting with you, President King.
Aye.
Vice President Chavez.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant.
Aye.
And Commissioner Mitchell. All ayes, the item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 7 for all council district, request for authority, statewide traffic safety and signs.
Good day, Commissioners. Martha Inges, representing the Bureau of Street Services. This is for the authority to award and execute contracts with statewide traffic and Sterndal for the freeway off-ramp closures. To safely perform repaving and sidewalk construction adjacent to freeways, freeway off-ramps need to be closed. These ramps fall under the jurisdiction of Caltrans, and therefore permits must be obtained for any such closure. Caltrans requires traffic control plans, maps, specialized equipment such as electronic message signs, high-speed impact protective devices, and barriers to close off the off-ramps. It additionally requires that any closures follow state-approved safety manuals. The Streets LA lacks the specialized equipment, expertise, or training required to close the freeway off-ramps. Traditionally, this work has been outsourced through contracts or authority for expenditures. Contractors are responsible for providing detour plans, securing Caltrans permits, coordinating with impacted agencies, providing the necessary equipment and staff, and ensuring that all closures adhere to Caltrans specifications. On February 29, 2024, the Personnel Department determined the city staff did not possess training or expertise required to perform the full scope of the work. Additionally, due to the specialized nature of these services, the Office of Procurement waived the Business Inclusion Program requirements. On August 13th, 2025, the board approved the release of an RFP for these services, and 2 proposals were received by the October 8th, 2025 submittal deadline. These proposals were evaluated by a selection committee. AWP Safety received a score of 88 points, and Sterndal received a score of 82.7 points. Neither proposer qualified for additional points under the Local Business Preference Program. Due to the anticipated increase in resurfacing and ramp construction projects in preparation for upcoming Olympic Games, Streets LA selected both contractors for award to ensure sufficient capacity to complete the required work. The contractors will comply with all laws, including prevailing wage requirements under the California Labor Code and city policies. The freeway closure services will be provided on an as-needed basis. These contracts will have a 5-year term with a combined estimated annual cost of $600,000 or $3 million for the entire 5-year term. That concludes my report. I respectfully request your authority to award and execute these contracts.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, any questions or comments? I have a quick question. I know the combined ceiling is $3 million, but I know the current annual allocation is about $200,000. So I was curious about how you all came about the $3 million.
Yes, we do have someone here, another representative from the Bureau, to go into detail of how they came up with the totals.
Good morning, President Kang, Vice President Chavez, Pro Tem Grant, Commissioner Mitchell, City Attorney, Executive Officer. It's always a pleasure to be here. My name is Sherrod Nichols. I'm the General Superintendent overseeing the Street Renewal Division, responsible for resurfacing, slurry seal, and slurry seal. Yeah, so how we came up with the number is we have different divisions working on different things. For us, we're working on the resurfacing in the streets. We have our construction services division that will have to be activated to do the access ramps. So we kind of broken up into 2 sections, or, divided by 2. And then, the multiple years and the multiple projects that we have to do for the Olympics. We kind of increase that because of the different divisions that have to work on those projects.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments on this item? Seeing none, is there a first and a second?
Second.
First by Commissioner Mitchell, seconded by President Pro Tem Grant.
Okay, we'll take the roll call starting with you, President King.
Aye.
Vice President Chavez.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant.
Aye.
And Commissioner Mitchell. Great, all ayes. The item is adopted and carries forthwith.
Thank you very much. All right, we have already concluded our convention center update. I believe that concludes our items for our regular agenda.
Correct.
All right, so we'll conclude for our regular meeting. The time is now 11:15 a.m. and we'll pick it right back for our special agenda item. There's one item on their special agenda. I know we've already taken
Let me just double check for the record that we have quorum. President King, Vice President Chavez, President Pro Tem Grant, and Commissioner Mitchell are all present, and we have quorum, and we can get started.
Thank you very much.
At 11:15.
We have taken general public comment, but we will take single item public comment. So if there are any members of the public, both in person or virtual, please feel free to chime in, and our presiding officer will call on your name.
Yes, we do have one for the item 1 on the Zoom. I believe we had one in person too, or that. Okay, we'll go with. Well, we have another hand. Peddleman with your hand raised. You'll have 1 minute to speak on the item.
Is this for the tree removal item or special comments?
This is for the item number 1, the tree removal at 22255 West Mulholland Drive.
Okay, 1 minute, geez. I'm Paul Edelman. I'm the Deputy Director of Natural Resources and Planning for the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy. We put a letter into the record with only a minute to say. I think that this tree replacement project plan needs to be redone. The trees are jammed. This is such an important site. And at a minimum, please do something for the city and make a 5-year establishment plan for these trees. Urban Forestry recommended a 4-to-1. We're getting a 2-to-1. And the 36 trees they propose are all jammed together. Too many of them are less than 20 feet from houses, retaining walls, and other infrastructure. It's flawed. We need to do a little bit more. Please have them come back with better metrics showing where the trees really will be relative to the things I just mentioned. And at a minimum, please require the extra 5th year. This is an amazing place that has, there are a lot of massive trees that should have been avoided when the track map was approved. The site has a primeval feel, and I think this is the least we can do for the city, and I am a plant ecologist with these comments.
Thank you, Paul. That's 1 minute. And your letter was distributed to all the board members, so thank you for that. I believe Claire also had your hand raised. All right, Claire, you'll have 1 minute for item number 1.
Okay, hi. I'd like to second everything Paul Edelman said. My name is Claire Duque. I'm representing Save Oak Savannah. The community is concerned that the plan is not compliant with LA City Protected Tree Ordinance. As Paul Edelman said, the proposed plan of 18 protected coast live oak trees proposes that they're replaced on a 1-to-2 ratio. The standard is 1-to-4. If the development has some sort of permit to circumvent this, we would like to see evidence of this prior to the removal. Furthermore, there should be no removal of trees on lot 13 because it has not yet been determined if this lot will be purchased. We're also concerned about the condition of existing oak trees that are not marked for removal. The property owner has neglected many of these trees to the point that they are suffering serious decline. The project proposal itself describes their condition as poor to fair. This is not acceptable. It's the legal responsibility of the property owner in California to properly maintain the health of protected trees on their property. And as Paul Edelman said, the replacement proposal shows these trees jammed together. There's a better way that this could be done. We'd like to see a different plan.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, President Kang, that's the end of our hands raised.
Thank you very much. So we'll close single item public comment for item number 1 on their special agenda. So we'll have our UFD representative start with his presentation.
Good morning once again. Bringing before the board this particular item for 22255 West Mulholland Drive, requesting that this board approve a fee permit to remove 18 native trees, which include 17 coast live oak trees and 1 valley oak tree, for the construction of 17 single-family residences relative to the planning case DIR 2025-3594 and vesting tentative tract number 67505. I want to take a moment and underscore that this is relative to this vesting tentative tract, and it is not a tentative tract, but again, just highlighting that it's a vesting tentative tract. I'm doing that because I heard some of the public comments, and I'm hoping to address some of those concerns throughout my presentation today. So the property owner, Heritage San Feliciano LLC, and or David Schwartzman is proposing the subdivision of a 6.2 acre property, which was 2 parcels, into 19 lots for the construction of 17 detached single-family residences at 22255 West Mulholland Drive. This property is located within the Canoga Park, Winnetka, Woodland Hills, West Hills area in Council District 3. And the project was approved by the Department of City Planning pursuant to the cases I previously mentioned. The property owner's representative submitted a tree report for review by Urban Forestry Division. A UFD arborist made it on site to assess the trees relative to their proposed impacts on this property. And the inspection revealed that there were 166 native trees and shrubs on the property, of which 17 coast live oak trees and 1 valley oak will require removal. The 18 native oak trees are proposed for removal. They are in poor to fair condition. They measure approximately 2 to 94 inches in diameter, or cumulative diameter, by 8 to 55 feet in height. The proposed construction of these 17 homes will require the removal of these trees. To kind of identify the reason for the removals, 4 of these coast live oak trees are being removed for their private street construction. 11 of them are being removed for being directly within their the pads that are going to be graded for the future homes, and 3 of them are being removed for the driveway installation. As I get into the alternative methods and options explored, I'll also point out that a comment I heard by Mr. Edelman mentioning the fact that the vesting tentative tract, the tentative tract should have accounted for the trees and removals. So we are essentially left with a division of land and plot plan that limits our ability to really move anything else around at this juncture. But I emphasize that the project is designed to preserve 148 protected trees throughout construction. That doesn't take away from the significance of the removals, but I just want to emphasize that they are not wiping out the entire lot, but preserving a significant amount of trees at this particular location. As far as the condition, if this board approves the removal of the subject trees, the applicant shall replant a total of 36 oak trees, which include 34 coast live oak and 2 valley oak trees in conjunction with the replacement plan found in Transmittal 6. This is where I want to get really particular about the reason why these numbers come about. This is a vesting tentative tract. Their vesting rights back when they were approved is really the reason why we're replanting or recommending these trees be replanted at a 2-to-1 ratio, because that was their vesting right determination. It's clearly outlined on their approvals from planning that these trees specifically needed to be replaced with 2-to-1, and specifically in that size, which is the 36-inch box size. Another thing I want to clarify here is that though all these trees are native species, not all of them qualify to be protected under the ordinance given their small size. So 3 of these native trees are actually considered just street trees. Even though they are oak trees, they are not of a protected size as it's defined in our ordinance. And they are being replaced also at a 2-to-1. So just to summarize, these 18 trees are being removed to be replaced with a total of 36 trees. If, again, this board approves, this that part of the condition would be that Streets LA be notified a minimum of 10 days prior to the day the protected tree removals shall occur, and the applicant's tree expert shall be on site the day of the tree removals to ensure that the proper trees are removed and there are no accidental tree removals taking place out there. And the applicant, also in conjunction with the landscape architect or tree expert, shall be responsible that the tree removal permit tree replacement conditions are in compliance, and that the tree plantings follow the landscape plan to the fullest extent possible. Streets LA is to be notified and shall be notified no later than 5 days after the completion of the tree replacements, and Streets LA will make arrangements to visit and approve the tree replacements as being in compliance with the permit conditions. In addition to the several other conditions here, I'll move on to the Environmental Quality Act here, CEQA. The Department of City Planning adopted the Environmental Impact Report case number ENV-2005-2301-EIR. And they found that the project, including the tree removals, was to have a less than a significant environmental effect with the incorporation of all those mitigation measures that were identified in the EIR. As far as the notifications, Streets LA did its due diligence with physically posting the trees along the street, or the street trees. The council office was informed. We updated our website, informing the public, and any comments were to be heard, which they were here. I will say that also the council office was notified, and they were to let us know if they had any objection to these tree removals in the project, and we heard no response from them. We didn't get any objections from them. This concludes my report, and I'm happy to take any question that the board may have.
Thank you very much. Before questions, I do want to recognize, I believe there's a representative from the applicant, Paul Lewis. Got it. Thank you very much. So with that, colleagues, if there are any questions, I know this is a complicated case. President Pro Tem Grant.
Ryan, thank you for that, and especially the explanation around the vesting of a 2-to-1 versus a 4-to-1. One of the objections raised was that, and looking at the map, from my inexperienced eye, it does look like the trees are somewhat jammed together. Can you speak to their ability to sustain and be able to grow? Or are they too dense? What's your professional opinion on that?
I will clarify here that the transmittal that I have on file, I hope it's the recent one, but I have a transmittal here for the replacement plan that clearly shows the existing trees. It looks somewhat like this in one of our transmittals, and it shows the structures, the road. I will say that this plan specified for more oak trees than what is specified in our report. I want to apologize for not being able to present a more accurate plan for your review and also for the public's review. But being that there are far more replacements, I concur that the more space provided to the replacement trees, the better, from other replacement trees and also from existing structures and existing trees. I will say that if this applicant is approved to move forward with the replacement as specified here, that would constitute less trees being planted. That would alleviate some of the spacing issues that have been brought forth here. But even then, as they are presented here with more trees being replaced, if this scale is accurate, which I can confirm here with the applicant, they provide accurate plans. The spacing between these trees can vary, but generally speaking, they are into the 20s and 30-foot spacings from what we were able to review, which is acceptable by the division stance. Oak trees typically have a projected crown spread, and just kind of reiterating that less trees would mean these trees would get that much more space in between them without much projected canopy kind of overlay amongst themselves. As far as the trees relative to the structures, I think the real issue can stem from the trunk of the tree potentially impacting structures in the future. And I've seen it myself where sometimes removal is requested because the tree was planted too close. But as far as fire safety, really the fire department, as far as I know to this date, doesn't have any minimum distance that a tree can be planted. What they have is a minimum distance of any vegetation from a structure, meaning so long as there is a vertical clearance over a roof of, I may be wrong here, but it's about 10 feet. they get legal fire clearance there. So they would have to just maintain structures and fire clearances in the same way that other vegetation, within their property. So I hope to have touched on some of the points there.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments? Vice President Chavez.
Just so I'm clear, because I'm not sure if I understand. So does UFD have a minimum spacing requirement between these oak trees and between the tree and either a structure or another existing canopy or a retaining wall as alleged? Is there a minimum?
In short, no.
Okay.
We do not have any.
So it's case by case.
Case by case, correct. We do have more outlined and detailed specifications more for street trees, but we don't have it for private property construction development because each case is different.
Okay, and then you saying you have a updated version of a tree replacement plan?
I currently do not. No. This
Okay,
is the
that's
most
what's
recent version.
provided here.
Yes.
Okay. So do you agree or disagree with the basis that there's appropriate spacing here? Because I'm referencing the Conservancy letter.
I agree that per the scale that's provided here, these trees are showing from one tree to the other to show approximately 20 plus feet, which has been a recommendation that's been brought before this board. And though it's not optimal, I will say that at this ratio to plant these trees, when we have a 4-to-1 requirement at times, in this case it'd be a 2-to-1, these recommendations are brought before the board with best practices in mind as well, knowing that some of these trees in nature grow even at more constrained intervals. I've seen some of these trees several feet from each other, but when we adopt a planting plan and recommend planting plans, the plans that we present take into account really the canopy spread of these trees. That's the best answer I can provide for that.
Applicant
And the applicant's here as well.
We use a 30-foot diameter tree for the green circle.
Sir, could you speak into the mic?
Sorry,
We can't hear you.
We use a 30-foot diameter tree on our plan, so what's on there is a 30-foot tree shown.
Okay, and have you actually gone out there and measured? Has someone actually measured the spacing? Or the architect?
The existing tree plan was, the surveyor marked the canopies of all the trees, and we had to stay outside of the canopy of all of the existing trees. So everything is outside of the existing tree canopy. And the plan actually shows all the existing trees in yellow, and that's with their actual canopies, which was a requirement of UFD to document it with their actual diameters.
Okay, and then that's the plan that UFD has right now?
This is the most recent.
That's the 60. That's the 60.
This is correct.
Right.
Was this plan presented?
No, that's what we proposed.
Okay. So they haven't provided it into the record. The timing of the hearing didn't allow for us to coordinate with the applicant to get these plans. I don't know if it's possible for us to add the plans that he has now, which is the 36 trees replacements. Can we add that into the record? Is that possible?
Yes.
Yes.
And then Commissioner Mitchell, I know you have some questions or comments.
Correct me if I'm wrong, was the 36 tree replacement 36-inch boxes instead of 24-inch?
That is correct. And that was part of the vesting tentative tract determination that they had to be that 36-inch box size.
Okay, and that increases the potential for tree survivability, if there's such a topic, a name?
The survivability will greatly depend on the watering. I believe that the increased size that was required previous to the new ordinance was just to try to compensate to some extent for what was being lost. With our current 4-to-1 replacement, as you know, we've decreased that requirement, but that may have been the intent, was just to replace to a greater extent with a bigger size and compensate for the loss of the trees.
Thirty-four, 36-inch box is more mature than 24, right?
They are. They are held in a nursery for longer, and they're essentially kind of brought up from a small container. As they get larger, they're brought into larger containers. So the tree, yes, is expected to be of a higher or larger caliper and trunk and just size overall.
Thank you.
One more question.
Vice President Chavez.
So once the trees are planted, I know that there's some language here about verification. You know, there's condition about inspecting and approving the replacement plantings.
Yes.
Within a certain period of time. Will that inspection also include verification of the spacing distances, or is it just a count?
It does. Our inspectors go out with the final plans, and we verify that there have been no significant changes that would constitute some type of violation of the conditions here. And as far as the conditions for survival, this is a standard condition that we impose upon every applicant to place a bond on the trees as a financial security that the trees will be there when we come out after the establishment period, and that those trees are still there. So the two inspections, yes, the initial and then the final. I'll add on to that with our use of technology now in the recent years, we've been able to plot certain trees and just archive these trees a lot better with picture documentation, where we can essentially keep better track as we go back out there.
Thank you very much. I know this was a complicated case, but applaud the staff for protecting 148 protected trees that will be preserved within the project. So thank you very much. With that, any other final comments or questions from the board members? All right. Is there a first and a second?
Second.
First by Commissioner Mitchell, seconded by President Pro Tem Grant.
Great. We'll take the roll call starting with you, President King.
Aye.
Vice President Chavez.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant.
Aye.
And Commissioner Mitchell. Great. The report is adopted, subject to any conditions and changes, and carries forthwith.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I believe that concludes our special agenda.
Yeah. Yes,
All
it
right.
does.
Thank you very much. The time now is 11:39. The meeting has been concluded. Thank you very much.
Hi, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh.